projection.
Welcome back to Take It On Sports, everybody, or welcome for your first time if you're just tuning in. I am TD, that's Greg over there, and you have tuned in to the world's premier sports podcast. Greg, how you doing this week?
I am good, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. Let's start, as always, with college football, and just another great day of football yesterday. Didn't look like much of a lineup coming in, but the games keep delivering. We can start really quickly with the home team, of course. Alabama, big win over Vanderbilt. Is there anything we can really learn from that game, though?
I mean, I guess it's not too much to learn from it. I mean, I liked how the offense looked, the way it was spread out in the first half. I mean, definitely looked better than what it has. Everybody seemed to be on the same page, and, everybody's been real critical of Burton's since in the last two games there, and he, looked good last night, I thought. Had some numbers finally. So I liked what I saw, but yeah, you're right. I mean, next week we'll start the test.
Yeah, for sure. Big road game at Arkansas next week. Much tougher defense they've seen the past couple of weeks. So we'll see how much of an improvement they've made since the Texas game. We'll move across the state to the Plains and Auburn. Another just Auburn Jesus pulls it out. If you didn't watch it, y'all, it was just a mess of a game. Auburn went up 14-0 in the first quarter. Missouri came back, tied it for halftime. Then the second half was nothing but punts until the very end. Missouri gets down to the 3-yard line or so, and then takes two knees and plays for the field goal. And what's the kicker do? He misses it. This is what you get for playing for a field goal with a college kicker. Then they get into overtime. Missouri's running in for the game-winning touchdown. Guy reaches the ball out, drops the ball right before the goal line. And like I said, Auburn Jesus keeps that ball in bounds somehow. Man. The Tigers of Auburn recover, win the game by Brian Harsin maybe another week. And as we said last week, that this is their tough stretch. So after this, they have LSU at home, then at Georgia, at Ole Miss, and Arkansas at home. So, I mean, just talk about it, Greg.
I mean, I don't even know how they won the game, honestly. Like, I was watching the game, looking at my timeline, and, all the Auburn fans, F this, fire the coach. This is, and then, it's over. You think this kid had missed a kick all year and within 30 yards. Of course, you go for that tie, and that's what you get, like you said. And just the fact that, I mean, the man busted the long run from Mizzou at the end and can't get in the end zone. Crazy.
Yeah, just that Jordan Hare weirdness. We've experienced it firsthand. It's just, there's some voodoo goes on there. And, man, but yeah, like we both just said, you can't play for the field goal in college. I don't care how good your kicker is. It's just college kickers are just not.
And especially, I mean, you're Mizzou. No one's expecting anything from you. You're on the road. You have nothing to lose. If I'm going to lose a game, I would much rather say my coach went for it. We didn't get it. We move on to play another game instead of we played for the field goal. We still lost.
Yeah, I mean, first and goal from 3-yard line. Take a couple of shots, just running up the middle 2 or 3 times.
I'm going to run three plays or something.
Yeah, it's just, and it's cowardly to a degree, It's aggressive, like Herm said, you play to win the game.
Like, I don't understand.
Go out there and play to win.
Don't understand it.
We'll stay in the SEC. Tennessee got a big win over their rival. Florida is only their second win over the Gators in the last 18 meetings of the series. Only the 5th win this century. So time to start maybe taking the Vols seriously here. They get a bye next week. They go on the road to LSU, and then it's the third Saturday in October. But a good win for Hendon Hooker, Josh Heupel, and the Vols. maybe that program's finally back to some sort of relevance in the SEC.
Well, definitely, at least on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, very, very impressive. I mean, without their top receiver, Tillman was out, and they still put up numbers. Brew McCoy, the transfer from USC, I mean, he put up numbers. And Hendon Hooker, I mean, running the ball, passing the ball. I mean, he looked legit yesterday. I mean, they haven't seen a quarterback like that at Tennessee for a while there. But that defense is going to be what is going to be their downfall long term. I mean, Anthony Richardson put up numbers like we haven't seen all season. So, I mean, kudos to him for, going on the road and doing that. But I think it says a lot about that Vols defense as well.
Yeah, they'll definitely get tested after their bye week. Maybe they'll have they'll have the bye week to tweak some things, but we'll see once they really start getting the meat of their schedule.
But they
playing offenses.
I mean, they got the win there.
They can really.
I guess that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, you got to win a big rivalry.
Big rivalry win, and I know when Florida got that onside kick at the end, I could have only imagined how those fans felt. Oh man!
Yeah, we didn't see any mustard bottles
mustard.
though, so.
Yeah. Probably saving that
for the mustard yesterday. All right, let's move to last night's big upset. Kansas State knocks off Oklahoma, and in their unbeaten run earlier. And that is one of those series that Oklahoma absolutely dominates. If you look at the overall record, it's like 77-20 or something like that.
Those lines.
But it feels like, especially since we've been in college, just Kansas State every couple of years or so just has this huge upset win over over Oklahoma. So I actually went down a weird little rabbit hole last night and researched it some. So they've beaten them 5 times this century, starting with that big win while we were in school where they just smashed them in the Big 12 championship game. Remember, Darren Sproles game, right? He ran all over them. And then they've had a couple wins around like 20. I think they won back-to-back in like 2012, 2013. They got a couple wins later on. So like I said, I went down a weird little rabbit hole last night, researched it. Here's the thing about it. All these wins seem huge, and you're like, oh, man, they cost Oklahoma the Big 12 title or their chances at a national title. But they really don't, actually, when you look at it. So that 2003 game, that was a year that they got in over USC in the BCS championship when they played and lost to LSU. Somehow. Don't know. We still don't know how that happened because USC's loss was early in the year to Cal that season. And Oklahoma got smashed in the Big 12 title game. No, BCS computer said, no, they're still one of the two. Then LSU went and beat them. And then what did I look up? So 3 times of those 5 games, 3 of them, they still went on to win the Big 12 title. Although one of that was kind of bullshit because they were co-champs with Kansas State. So you're like, hey, Big 12, tiebreaker, head-to-head thing. One of them was just part of a 5-loss season Oklahoma had in like 2013 or so. So it really wasn't, didn't make a difference either way. And then one was that 2003 game where it cost them the Big 12 title, but didn't cost them a shot at the national title. So it's just one of those weird series though, man. Manhattan is like a snake pit for the Sooners, really, but in the end, it kind of never really matters.
Yeah, it's really weird whether they've won like 3 or 4 in this series. But as you said, it doesn't matter. I mean, when they lost in 2019, to Kansas State, they still went to Sooners with Jalen, still went to the playoffs. But the craziest part of last night was not how they won, but just the way they dominated the game. This is a team the week prior had, 10 points against Tulane, but can go on the road to Norman and drop 41. The craziness of college football.
Yeah, it's just one of those sports. Oh, sorry, I had my mic down. Just one of those, sports. It goes to show you just sometimes you never know what the hell's going on in college football. But so Oklahoma, I think that I saw the AP poll. They dropped about 10 spots or so today.
Big drop from.
But we'll see, how it actually affects them. Going forward, they still kind of got an easy schedule, and they still got the talent. They could still turn around and run through the rest of their schedule, and K-State might drop a game or two somewhere.
Who knows? Yeah, but the
Yeah,
Sooners,
and
I mean, it seems like Iowa State and Kansas State, they're like their kryptonite. every other year, it seems recently, there's those two teams for whatever reason are really. It's crazy.
yeah. So we'll move on to another big upset yesterday down in
Oh
Miami.
my god.
Woo! Middle Tennessee State just went in to Hard Rock Stadium and beat the ever living tar out of Miami. Just all over, like
From
threw it, ran it,
start to finish.
just beat them up. Got paid a $1.5 million to go in there and beat the Canes. So my questions to you, man, I guess is Miami, that roster just that thin on talent? Maybe we haven't realized. Maybe we kind of hyped up. We think that because of all that talent that is in South Florida high school ball, but it's not necessarily automatically going to Miami. But we hyped up
Yeah.
Cristobal, and maybe it's just that roster is not that thin. And then a second part of that is maybe, and not comparing Cristobal to Nick Saban, but maybe it's kind of similar to that first year under Nick Saban where, the infamous, they finished, 7-6 that
Right.
year, that everyone remembers the UL Monroe loss. They actually lost their last 4 regular season
Yeah.
games before, winning the Independence Bowl. And a lot of that season was just Saban instilling his culture there
Right.
and what the program's going to be about, and kind of weeding out guys that didn't really fit the new idea of what the team should be. So, give me a scale of 1 to 10, how much should Miami fans panic?
Well, first, it only seems like it's like 20 Miami fans. I mean, they can't get fans in that stadium for any reason. But I mean, the only thing I can say is it's more of the same for Miami. I think that's why they would panic as a fan base, because it's always after they lose that first big game, they fall apart. They lose A&M, they fall apart. So I think from here it's just how do they rebound. But like as you said, I mean, Chris Ball's getting his culture in there. I mean, we know he has had a great recruiting class, but I mean those guys are not on the team right now, so he's still building things. And so I think you have to look at the long term. But as a fan base, I mean, I see exactly why they would panic, just because I mean, yeah, it's okay to lose the A&M at Kyle Field, but to turn around the following week, it doesn't matter. It was a tough loss, but to get blasted from start to finish by Middle Tennessee State, not even a good mid-major team. That's the whole thing. Like, my goodness, like how, like where, and that can't happen. But
No, it cannot. Yeah, it's not a good loss there. So we'll see. It's one of these things. How do they react to it? A
exactly,
couple bad games in a row. Offense, they benched Van
yeah,
Dyke yesterday, so we'll see how he responds to that, how the whole team responds, and how Cristobal gets them
yeah,
going.
for sure.
We'll stay in the ACC. Clemson and Wake Forest played a classic
Man, that
yesterday,
was
a
an instant classic.
shootout in Winston-Salem. The Tigers pulled it out in the end, winning in overtime. I think
Double
double overtime,
overtime, yeah.
actually. Yeah, so the offense finally got going. DJ looked, I think, had his best passing game since that first one he started against Notre Dame a
It
couple
was
seasons ago.
definitely a decent game for him there. That offense, both offenses, it was amazing,
Oh,
back and
yeah,
forth.
Sam Hartman just slinging.
Man,
Sam Hartman, Wake Forest quarterback, ACC record 6 touchdown passes.
and that's against a great defense. I mean, Clemson has not been known for the defense. That's what carried them last year, and I mean they've still a top defense in the country, even with the transition and coaches and stuff. And yeah, I mean he took apart that defense from start to finish. I mean, but it's good to see him back there. He started off the season with the blood clot there, where folks weren't sure when he was going to come back, and he's come back gangbusters in the 3 games he's been. Sam Hartman is definitely a special talent. And, you hit in a game like that, there's an outside just watching. You hate to see someone lose. It's just so fun to watch. But
Mm-hmm. For sure, yeah. Yeah, maybe some questions about that great Clemson D, though. We'll see how much of it was Wake Forest and Sam Hartman and how much maybe they got some holes to
Maybe
plug. They
so.
get NC State
At home.
next week and their big time quarterback. So that's a big test for them. And then on the 15th of October, they have to go to Tallahassee to face the Red Hot Seminoles. All of a
Yeah,
sudden, 4-0.
4-0.
So we'll see we'll see where Clemson, if they're full back.
Yeah.
If last year was just an anomaly, or we'll see if maybe they still got some lingering problems on that roster. Let's see. Let's go out west real quick. USC struggled. Tough win over Oregon State. Anything to read from this, or is it just the blip in Corvallis, which is a place that always seems to give the Trojans trouble?
I'm going to take it as Corvallis more than anything. That was the one you looked at and like, oh, they're going to Corvallis. It's a later game. It's not. It's on the Pac-12 network. I mean, I couldn't even watch the game because I have YouTube TV, not one of the channels. So I kind of listened to it on through the Sirius XM, just following it. And so, but I mean, the thing I guess is you could get from the game, the offense struggled, but the defense looked good for USC. Forced four interceptions there, kept them in the game, and that's been the question. I guess if you take a positive from it, not only got the tough win, and we've seen them struggle in Corvallis, but the defense looked a lot better this week.
For sure. I was in the same boat as you. Also have YouTube TV, which is normally great.
I was like, no Pac-12 network.
I love it during sports season.
I don't go to it much. I mean, it's not a channel I'm looking for often, but I thought, I had the Big Ten, I got the SEC. Surely I had the Pac-12. Nope.
Yeah, we got the
Exactly.
ACC, Big Ten, and SEC network on there, but I guess the Pac-12 is not part of that ESPN family.
Yeah,
so whatever. But YouTube TV, great. If you guys want to throw us a sponsorship, we'll take it. Staying out, let's see. Joe, just to finish up about USC, they get Arizona State and then Washington State at home, and then they got a big showdown at Utah on the 15th. So we'll learn more then.
Until then.
See how they bounce back. Let's stay in the Pac-12 for a couple teams. Ooh, that crazy Oregon, Washington State fourth quarter.
Crazy.
I had actually kind of zoned out of that game. It looked like Washington State, the Cougars are just kind of controlling that one all over Oregon. Then Oregon scored 21 points in about a 2.5-minute span. Took a 10-point lead, and then Washington got the very last play backdoor cover for the gamblers out there that Oregon minus 6.5 did not hit. So a lot of craziness there. A lot of bad beats on that one. But that's a good win by Oregon because Wazoo is kind of like Corvallis. Pullman is a weird place, kind of like Lubbock, which we'll get to. Just one of these weird places, man. Strange things happen out there. So that's a good win for Oregon.
Definitely a good win. I mean, this is two solid wins in a row for Oregon. I mean, they beat BYU solidly last week. I mean, then this week they go into Pullman, get the win. I mean, Washington State, I wouldn't say a down team. I mean, they 2 weeks ago went in the Camp Randall and slapped Wisconsin around all games. So, I mean, definitely a good win. And, it's weird. Like, Bo Nix, you see that, the end of the game, you see that dude is definitely talented, but it's just something mentally, I mean, he just can't give it every week. But if he would be able to give it every week, he could be something special. But I guess that's why he's where he's at right now.
For sure, yeah. He's a maddening quarterback to follow if you're a fan of a team he's playing for because he's, like you said, up, down, up, down. He's a roller coaster. Staying one last thing about the Pac-12, is it time we need to pay some serious attention to Washington? The Huskies are looking strong, 4-0, and they're kind of running through teams. They followed up last week's big win against Michigan State with another big win this week. Huskies looking kind of real.
They are looking good. I mean, this was a team last year was pathetic, pitiful. And, I mean, new coach, DeBoer, come in there and brought what he had at was he at Fresno State, and I mean he had to have it missed a beat from the transition. I mean they are just playing ball in Washington. Yeah, definitely a team I wouldn't want to play right now. Hot.
Yeah, for sure. 40-22 win over Stanford. And granted, Stanford is a little bit down, but hey, that's you win your games. You got to win your games, and they did, and they're scoring a lot of points.
Scoring points, winning convincingly. Can't ask for more.
Mm-hmm. They go to UCLA this Friday, play a Friday night game. We'll see if more than 20 people show up for the Bruins.
Yeah, but I mean, that'll be definitely a test. I mean, even if it is only 20 Bruins fans, going on the road at any time and, when it's a team you're not sure exactly what you have, I mean, that's always a test. I mean, a solid UCLA team. And, I mean, it's a time for them to really show because, I mean, they're the main attraction, nothing else going up against them. So all eyes will be on Washington to show that they're for real.
Well, yeah, for sure. And UCLA's 4-0.
Yeah,
so, haven't played the toughest schedule, but 4-0 is 4-0. So,
be an interesting game.
Big Friday night Pac-12 game. We'll move down. We'll end in the state of Texas for our recap. We had Texas going into Lubbock, speaking of weird places, like I said, losing to Texas Tech once again in that got to overtime, right? Yes, that did get to overtime.
Crazy ending.
Texas Tech wins. Fans rush the field. My comment about this is maybe we don't need to boost a team for losing like we did Texas after the Alabama loss. Everyone, they jumped into the top 25, had one of the biggest jumps ever.
Yeah. I mean,
everyone hyping them up. Oh, we didn't hear Texas is back yet, but close. Hey, Sark's probably still got some work to do there. Probably a thinner roster than they would like. Probably not as much talent, or at least not the talent he needs for his offense just quite yet. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that game?
I mean, Lubbock's always a tough place to go into. And even though it was the first time since that crazy Michael Crabtree game that they've actually won in, they've given Texas fits in between that. So, I mean, you can always expect Lubbock and Texas coming in. It's going to be an entertaining game. But I mean, the craziness, I mean, when they went down 10, I thought it was game over. Tech put up a good fight, but, come back, scored that. And then to see Bijan Robinson fumble the ball, crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
No, yeah. First play of overtime, too. Yeah, just it's one of those weird things. Going up to, I guess, Arlington, where that game was played, Arkansas and A&M played a good one with a weird ending. Or a couple of big weird plays, actually. First, Arkansas went up, 14-0? 14-0. A&M scored. Arkansas drove right back down, was about to take another 14-point lead.
And he fumbled.
KJ Jefferson fumbled the ball trying to reach it over the pile. A&M takes it back 98 yards for a touchdown. And that really flipped that game. A&M got some momentum from that. Arkansas could not get going again. Had a chance to win at the end. Again, clock management, a little weird. They didn't quite play for a field goal. A&M's defense stepped up. But something I've never seen, the field goal hit off the top of the upright and bounced back into the field of play for no good. A&M holds on to win a close one. That was just a weird game. A weird ending, and we'll see how it affects Arkansas. They get Alabama at home next week, so we'll see if they're boned from it or if they're going to really come out firing and bounce back.
Yeah, definitely a weird one. And first, I'd like to say this is a game I want to see get to home and home. I mean, you want to see the atmosphere at Kyle Field. You want to see the atmosphere in Fayetteville. Playing at Jerry World was cool when they weren't in the same conference, maybe, but now that they are, get to the home, guys.
Yeah, I saw somewhere, I forget now, but it is the because they signed that initial contract for like 10 or so games at Jerry World. When they were, like you said, in separate conferences. I think they might have
one or two
more
left.
games left on that contract. And then, they will go to home and home. Like you said, that'll make that series, that kind of rivalry really ramp up. Anything else from yesterday you want to touch on?
Well, I will say, with Arkansas losing, I think it actually becomes a more dangerous game for Alabama. I mean, I'm sure the guys will be ready to go because it's a big time game at the 2:30 spot. But I don't know when a team like Arkansas coming off a close loss at home in Fayetteville, dangerous. I think kind of a dangerous area to go into. But
For sure. And like you said, that is the big time CBS game next week, 2:30 Central Time. Yeah, we'll see. Big showdown for the Arkansas program and big showdown for the Alabama offense against that defense.
yeah,
Let's move into our power rankings for this week. I guess I'll kick it off at number 10. I got Oregon. Like I said, I just want to give them credit for the way they've bounced back after that Georgia loss. They got pounded by Georgia, managed 3 points, and they've scored now at least 40 in 3 straight games. And like I said, a great comeback and a really tough place to play.
for sure.
Who's your number 10?
10. Well, it's not the sexiest pick, but I got Penn State. They're just 4-0 on the year, playing decent football. Wasn't a big win. I mean, it was a solid win yesterday against not a great team there, but the back end of their schedule, back end of October for them is brutal. But right now they're playing good football, so I got them at 10.
All right. How about your number 9?
Number 9, I have the Wolfpack, NC State. They're a team that blew out UConn yesterday. Of course, who doesn't do that? But, I mean, we'll find out how real they are this coming up week going into Death Valley to play Clemson. That's, their test, the one that if they're going to be the team that some think that they can be, they, of course, have to get that big road win there. So we'll find out about the Wolfpack that's coming up Saturday.
We will, and that's also my number 9 team. I echo everything you said. Like, next week's our litmus test on the Wolfpack. See if they're for real. See if Clemson's for real. Number 8, I got the Volunteers of Tennessee. They've been impressive offensively. We already talked about what they got coming in the next few weeks. How about you?
I have the same. I have Tennessee with with teams like Arkansas losing, OU losing. Got to move the Vols up a little bit. They got the monkey off their backs, so you could say there. We know that there's struggles with the Gators over the last 20 years. So, big win for them. They have the bye week coming up, and then they have some big games, LSU and Alabama. If pull. That'll let us know a lot about the Vols. But so far, I mean, that offense is great. So,
yeah. How about your number 7?
7, got Kentucky at 7. Not the prettiest of wins, but a lot of time Kentucky doesn't win pretty. I guess you would expect a bigger win against Northern Illinois there, but it is what it is. But another team at going to Oxford coming up Saturday. That'll be a big game against Ole Miss.
Yeah, for sure. And we're echoing each other, right? These last couple picks. I also have Kentucky, and my note said the same thing. We'll see. They go in Oxford. We'll see if their defense can slow down that Rebel offense and see if they can score some points on the Rebel defense. The Rebels struggled a little bit with Tulsa yesterday. Kind of got out in front and then let Tulsa climb back into it. They closed it out. So, big game next week. I think that's 11 a.m. I think that's early.
That's 11 a.m. one.
11 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
Number 6, I got the Trojans of USC. We already kind of talked about them. How about you?
I have USC. I mean, they're just handling business. Got a solid road win. Defense looked better. I mean, they are who they are. We'll know about them on middle of the month when they play Utah.
All right, how about your number 5?
Number 5, I have Michigan. And that game was a lot closer than a lot of folks thought. Maryland hung around there. But, it kind of shows maybe don't play all cupcakes in your first 3 games there. Finally played a Power 5 team and didn't look as impressive, but they, got their conference win there. So, and then going to Iowa next week. Iowa's offense is terrible, but that's a tricky place to win sometimes.
Yeah, indeed. This is where we got a little switch up finally. My number 5 is Clemson. Talked about them. Offense looked like it maybe got going again. We'll see how that defense responds. Tough test next week. Number 4 is where I have Michigan. Same thoughts as you. We kind of maybe expected them to come down to earth a little bit after those first 3 cupcakes. Maryland, decent team, solid team at home. Was impressed the way they closed it out with the running game. Passing game wasn't really working, so they went to what they do best, and
Yeah,
it
man, he had
worked.
like
Hey,
240 on the
it's
ground,
important to.
most
Mhm.
running yards since shoelace. So definitely.
Mm, for sure. Who is your number 4?
Number 4, I have the Buckeyes.
Okay.
I mean, it was an impressive blowout win, but I think Wisconsin's pretty bad there.
Yeah, Badgers seem to be having a down year. Who's your number 3?
3, I actually have Clemson. I moved them up a little bit this week at the 3 spot. I mean, I just thought that was an impressive, road win. Wake Forest. A lot of people are like, oh, they lost to Wake Forest, but if you watch Wake Forest last couple of years, I mean, that's been a great team. Sam Hartman's a heck of a quarterback, and to go into Winston Salem, get the win there when there's a lot of questions about your own offense. I thought it was an impressive win and moved them up.
Mm-hmm. My number 3, I got the Tide. Kind of same thing as last week. Offense looks good. How much do we really know? And your defense looked good too, ferocious. There's only so much you can really learn from UL Monroe and Vanderbilt. We'll see next week. My number 2 is where I have the Buckeyes. Same sentiment. They're looking good, kind of rolling. I think they're a very talented team. How about your number 2?
Number 2, I have Bama. And I mean, they completely dominated yesterday against Vanderbilt's. Heck of a first half there, putting up points. I liked how Bryce threw the ball all over the place. Got a lot of receivers involved, and I mean, you did what you're supposed to do, and so we can continue that going into Fayetteville.
For sure, for sure. And then pretty easy, both of us. Georgia, number 1. Not much we can probably say about that. They are just the defending champs and look like the best team this year. Anything you want to add?
Well, I mean, I guess like most people were probably surprised by the way Kent State kind of hung around. Didn't really watch the game, but you look at it and you're like, oh, it's a little closer than what you expected. But sometimes it's just hard to get up for teams at times. But they what they had to do, and yep, Georgia. So.
Yep, and that's about it for our college talk. We'll move to the NFL. Before we get to our power rankings for that, I have a little mini rant I want to go on real quick. Last week, that Browns-Jets game. Well, first of all, actually, before I even touch on that, it was funny when I went in to edit last Sunday night after we were talking about the Ravens blowing out the Dolphins. We did, man. We put the jinx on my boys bad. Everything we talked about. I actually had myself a good laugh. I was sitting there, sitting with my wife and laughing. She was looking at me like it was weird because I had my headphones on and everything. And I was just like, I couldn't even explain it to her. I'm like, just don't even worry. It's dumb. But yeah. So back to this. So as we all know, the Browns blew a 13-point lead under 2 minutes ago to the Jets. Joe Flacco and the Jets. And a lot of the talk this week is about Nick Chubb having that one play where he's running, got the first down, and then did not go down before he scored the touchdown. I'm here to say, fuck that noise. I hate it. I hate that argument so much. It is Nick Chubb's job to score points. It is the offense's points to score points. And especially when you consider a lot of these skill players have incentive-laden contracts to where, more touchdowns, more yards, he gets more money. I do not blame him for that. No. It is the defense's job to stop the offense from scoring. And Nick Chubb handed them a 13-point lead. Should have been 14 because their kicker missed the extra point. Handed them a 13-point lead over the Jets and Joe Flacco's geriatric ass with like a minute 55 to go, and they blew it. Nick Chubb did not blow that game. I hate this whole discourse of runners should fall down. No, if you want to run out the clock, take a knee. If it's third down and you're trying to get the first down, either just run it up the middle if that's all you want, or just accept it. If you score, defense has got to go to work now. Nick Chubb apologized. Don't apologize, Nick.
Man, that was
get your money, get your points, man. That's bullshit. Yeah. Ran over. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the article. I was like, what? Why is Nick Chubb apologizing? I mean, it's not like they gave them a minute 30 and they were up 6 at that point or something, going up against Tom Brady or something. We're talking about Joe Flacco and the Jets. Like, game over. Like, what?
Yeah, and they give up the big long touchdown, and then they just let them drive right.
Exactly.
They get the onside kick, and then they just drive right down.
Yeah,
No, that is not on Nick Chubb.
not at all.
Stop with this discourse. Score your points, offenses. That is your job to score points.
Exactly. About craziness.
Like, yeah. The only other thing I had in my NFL notes before the power rankings was fuck Brett Favre.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's about everybody's seen the news. We don't really need to get into it but that's just despicable.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a player, at least in our generation, that has ruined their goodwill as much as he has.
He was the guy that everybody, he's kind of the gunslinger, the every guy type of guy. You can relate to him a little bit. And yeah.
Yeah, no, not anymore.
No. Ever since that Jets thing with that reporter, it's kind of gone downhill since then.
Yeah, he has done more. I think I said on Twitter or something this week that the only person I could think of maybe a generation ahead of us would say would be O.J. Simpson. But yeah, so that's not a good level to get on there, Brett. All right, let's get into our NFL power rankings this week. Again, y'all, we record this on Sunday afternoons, so we are not taking into account the current games really. As you can remember from last week in the Ravens debacle. Go ahead, start us off. Number 8.
Well, number 8, there's just there's a lot of teams you could put in that 8 spot. Just because there's only really 2 short things in football right now. Well, maybe not even this week because some teams are struggling above. But number 8, I still have the Vikings at 8 there. I still think they're a solid team there. They struggled on Monday Night Football, but their talent level, they shouldn't. It's not a bad thing to lose to Philly, and I see that we're struggling with the Lions. I don't know what the score is right now, but might be dropping them quickly. We'll see.
Yeah, I got the Rams, the defending champs, at number 8. They did get a win over the Falcons, but they had a big lead, and then the Falcons nearly came back and took it from them. My question for the Rams is, where's the run game, man? They were not able to close that game out with a strong run game. So that's tough for them. They need to find that run game and quick.
Yeah.
Number 7, I got the Ravens after the aforementioned collapse, and as I'm watching them right now, they look like they might be doing the same against the Patriots. I do want to say, though, reading all the Ravens fans' reaction, there's no need to panic. It was a very bad loss, horrible loss. You can't blow a 21-point fourth quarter lead. That's no argument there. But it was the second week of the season. Lamar played great. Rashad Bateman is showing signs that he is going to be a true number 1 receiver. And they're still not healthy in the secondary, on the line, and the running backs. They still, they need Ronnie Stanley back. I think they had another lineman go down today. Marlon Humphrey last week was in and out of that game. And against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that's tough when you got Marcus Peters in his first game back, Marlon Humphrey in and out, and then 2 rookies, trying to cover 3, actually, if you count the safety. It's just, it's not time to panic yet, Ravens fans. Like, this is ridiculous, calling for John Harbaugh's head, all that stuff. No, like, horrible loss, yes, but week 2, and there's a lot of still positive signs to take from it. Even, Armour Davis, the cornerback who Jalen Waddle caught the game-winning touchdown over, he actually played it really well. Yeah. He was right there. Tua made a great pass, threw it up high. Jalen was able to go up and get it. Who's your number 7?
7, I have the Rams. Came back, got the win last week. It wasn't the prettiest, but the Rams still a talented team there. Had kind of took a big hit from that week 1, and people were like, oh, they're falling apart. They're still the Rams, yeah. But like you said, that running game has to get better. Like, I don't understand how you have a talented running back, Cam Akers. They got to figure that out. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's sorely something they need to figure out quickly. Who's your number 6?
Number 6, I'm just going to throw them in there because I think it's funny that they're undefeated right now. But, I mean, the Giants playing good football. I absolutely can't stand them, and my team is playing them tomorrow night, actually. But, I mean, they're a team that, I think that with a healthy Saquon Barkley, they're a dangerous team. He can stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if he's he probably, going back, maybe you don't take him second in the first round, running back these
Right.
days, even as good as he is, but he really does add completely different dimension to that offense when he's healthy, and it opens things up for them.
Yeah, definitely.
My number 6, I had the Packers. They bounced back with a win. Aaron Rodgers looked good. I mean, you just got to give them credit. They probably still got some things they need to figure out, but in Aaron we trust, I guess. Until he shows us, gives us a reason not to.
Yeah, that's correct.
My number 5, I had the Eagles, and our boy Jalen Hurts had a great game Monday night. They're having a good game this afternoon so far. He looked like they found the right offense for him. AJ Brown was a great pickup. Defense is looking solid. Who's your number 5?
Well, I have the Ravens at the 5 spot. They of course we all know about the debacle that fourth quarter last week. Don't know what they're doing at the moment there. Not on the TV, but I know they were back and forth with the Patriots. But I mean, they're still a good team, like you said. They're not healthy fully there, but when they get healthy and they can stay healthy, they're a great team. So, Ravens there.
To answer your question, I got it on Red Zone right here. They actually Marlon Humphrey just picked off a pass in the end zone.
Okay.
So they are up 31-26, I believe.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So
Last
they'll
time,
get the ball back there.
Lamar throwing a pick, and I was like, oh man.
And there was a questionable. The Patriots had the ball there for a questionable fumble. He threw it to Bateman, and Bateman kind of caught it and got hit and lost the ball at the same time. But then they ruled it a fumble instead of completion. But we'll see. Ravens got the ball back, stopped from scoring. There's about 8 minutes or so left in that game. All right, who was your number 4?
Number 4, I have the Miami Dolphins. Big. They dominated week 1. Got the big road win last week. I know. Saw Tua got hurt again. This is a bad thing, but so far, and they've done what they need to do. That offense seems to suit him. They got 2 playmakers, kind of more the format of what he had at Bama, with two good wide receivers, and they're playing to his strengths. So hopefully he can come back and be healthy because he went out with that head injury. I don't know what his status is currently, but I saw he went out, and I was like, my goodness, this man he's the most unlucky guy in, I don't know, almost like the Derrick Rose of the NFL. He can't stay healthy for any reason.
I believe he actually did make it back into the game.
Did he? Oh, nice.
I think I saw him. Yeah, like I said, I got on Red Zone, so they're not on that game right now. But I believe he did get back in the game and actually made a big deep pass to Jalen again. So I think he's all right. Yeah, just a little concussion scare. They probably just had to check him out.
Yeah,
make sure
because
he
I saw
was good.
him come across too, went out with the injury. I was like, oh, and then it said head. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you just hate it. Yeah, I also have the Dolphins at number 4. Same reasons as you. With those 2 guys, Hill and Waddle on the field, that is going to tire out a lot of defenses. And if they add, they really haven't even played around a lot with their 2 running backs, Edmonds and Mostert. Those are 2 other dangerous weapons, and of course Gesicki at tight end. That's a lot of weapons on that team, and I don't know if we've really seen the full complement of that offense yet. Number 3, I stayed in Florida. I got the Bucs, Tom Brady. That defense looking good again. He was frustrated. Apparently broke 2 tablets last week in the Superdome in the win over the Saints. And of course, Mike Evans getting suspended. That rivalry getting chippy. But how about your number 3?
Number 3 this week, I have the Eagles. They look good. Came on Monday Night Football. And they shut down Justin Jefferson completely. Forced Cousins into three or four picks there, and Jalen put up numbers. I mean, that first half, I mean, he looked like an MVP candidate. I mean, just running the ball, throwing the ball. Definitely big improvement going from Rager to A.J. Brown there as other number one there. So definitely impressive team so far.
Mm-hmm. Who's your number two?
Two, I have the Chiefs. They were my one last week, but I had to move them down. But they're they are just they're the team to beat for sure in the AFC West there. So they're just who they are until someone beats them.
Mm-hmm. Which would make the Bills your number one.
Yes, sir.
Which would mean that we have the same two and one. I also have Chiefs 2, Bills 1. Chiefs for the Chiefs. They're looking good. They actually kind of struggling more than you would think they are with the Colts right now.
Yeah, the Colts.
The Colts are in desperation mode though, so can't blame that.
That's
then the Bills. The Bills are just looking really strong. They had another big win last week. That offense is just humming. I think they are actually. It looked like Miami just took the lead on them a couple minutes ago, so it's a tough game down there in Miami.
Right.
But Josh Allen is everything that we think he is, and that team is they're really good. Anything to add?
Well, talking about the Chiefs struggling with the Colts there. I mean, that's a team, big expectations out of Matt Ryan, and the fact that last week, I mean, dropped 23-0 to the Jags. I mean, that's just crazy. I know the Jags are probably an improved team, but man, when you're supposed to be the favorite and and you're missing pieces, supposed to be Matt Ryan, to drop it like that, my goodness, they've gotten off to a very slow start there.
Yeah, they are up 17-13 with 6.5 minutes as we record this. Looks like the Colts just converted a 4th and 1. Matt Ryan getting a sneak, old man getting in there. We'll see how that one turns out. Like I said, it might be one of these early season. NFL's weird like that. They're all professional teams.
Yep.
It just might be a case the Colts are desperate. They cannot 0-3 start. 0-3, bad.
Well, I guess.
But you expect the Chiefs to do better here. Well, let's see, red zone switching to the Ravens on a 3rd down here. See how this goes. A little live commentator. Let's see. Shotgun formation. Lamar gets a snap, goes back, throws the ball. Little high. It'll be 4th down. They'll give the ball back to the Patriots. But all right, that ends our NFL talk. We'll end, let's see, last topic this week, the Celtics. Out of nowhere. Big surprise. Suspended their coach, Ime Udoka. I don't want to mispronounce that, for the whole season, based on, they just said, multiple violations of team policy. They did not give us any more than that officially. Big rumors about, a consensual affair with another staff member. And then, I don't really want to go into the social media, the Twitter rumor machine, because who knows really what's going on.
Right.
They did say it just came multiple violations of team policy after a months-long investigation. So that is, it came out of nowhere, big shock, because he was riding high. That franchise was riding high after making the finals after that horrible start to their season. They really turned it around, were maybe the hottest team going into the playoffs. Just ran into, a Warriors team on a mission. But, how's this going to affect their season this year?
Just from I think it's one of those things, you either fire the guy or you just run with them as is and maybe change your policy to have, because supposedly they've known about it for a while and it just became known to us there, of course. I guess if he broke policy, and that's, and with some of the issues with other things within the NBA with sexual harassment, everything with Phoenix on to that nature. I mean, you almost think, I guess, cut ties with them, because if you haven't seen a whole year, are you really going to bring them back next year? I don't know. I think I don't know if Boston handled it the best as far as, you know, I would have either cut ties with them or kind of kept it quiet and just, kept him as the coach or have him sit a whole year and then maybe bringing him back. I mean, I think that's a whole another can of worms that maybe could have been eliminated. But we'll see. I think there's a lot more to the story that we'll find out once it's. There's just so many rumors. The other thing, talking about the social media aspect. I mean, they had a first lady they had in the pictures says supposedly the woman wasn't even the woman. That's the worst part.
Oh yeah, and you really hate that part of that whole uh, like I said, social media, just rumor mill. Everyone turns into an investigator all of a
Yeah,
sudden, and
because
detectives,
there
and
was this picture
don't
of a
don't spread
yeah
these people's pictures online, man.
yeah,
Like, come on, man. Like,
and she wasn't
I
even a
get it. We
woman.
all want to know the
Like
juicy gossip, and we do want to know the full story. Like, multiple team violations doesn't really tell us much. Is he
right,
harassing? Was this actually not consensual? Those are things that, in the end, maybe we should know. But like you said, it's also weird that they just suspended him for a whole season. Didn't cut ties. There was a report that maybe he offered to resign and they didn't take it or something. It's a weird situation.
yeah,
How it'll affect him on the court, we don't really know yet. They lost their top assistant to the
yeah. He went to
Jazz. Danny Ainge
went to
plucked him.
Utah. Yeah,
Yeah, Danny
be
Ainge
their
plucked
head
him. So we'll
coach.
see what they got. Still a credibly talented team, obviously.
Talented team, and I mean,
But yeah, so that's interesting going forward as we get closer to the NBA season. I guess preseason should be starting up
yeah, sometime.
real soon, next week, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I don't know, just a weird story all around. Just everything about it, the undisclosed things, the nature of it, how we don't really know anything, and then like you said, the decision not to cut ties with them and to suspend them for a whole season. Just an odd story. Anything else in the world of sports you want to touch on this week?
Not a whole lot. I think we pretty much got a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. I guess baseball we did hit. Albert got his 700th home run.
700. Yeah.
Good for him.
Judge
It
just
really
sitting
is,
at 60. And I know that was the other thing. I guess a lot of people were pretty upset. Every pitch they break into the college football yesterday with the
Oh yeah,
Aaron
no,
Judge
yeah.
watch.
I saw a lot of bitching on Twitter about that
Yeah.
yesterday. Even from Yankees fans themselves,
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, man, this is Saturday. Like,
Right.
don't cut it into this game, man. Like, do at least a picture."
And then they
Uh,
went with their audio too. That was even fun.
oh yeah, that's the crazy thing. But it's it's weird. It's a great accomplishment for Judge. He's having an
Yeah.
amazing season, chasing the Triple Crown, obviously chasing the Maris home run record. But as long as the NFL still keeps Bonds as the record holder, I mean, what are we really? It's exciting. 60 home runs is awesome, but Judge isn't chasing a record, just yet.
Yeah.
At least a major league record. So
AO
yeah, we'll
record.
see what he does in the last couple of weeks, how close he gets. But yeah, that discussion, it is. I think that's just subjective. Either you recognize Bonds or you hate the steroids part. My take on it is, Dolphins just missed a game-sealing interception there. My take on that whole situation, just real quick, is look, it wasn't technically against MLB rules.
Right.
When McGuire and Sosa and Bonds were taking all these supplements and whatnot, muscle enhancers, steroids, whatever you want to call them, HGH. And while we're there, the part that really just annoys me the most of everything is all these sanctimonious writers, and baseball writers are the worst. Just talking about they ruined the game, they should be stricken from the record books. Motherfuckers, y'all were more than anybody celebrating them in the moment. I remember that summer of McGuire and Sosa. I remember the Bonds chases. It was the only thing on SportsCenter. It was the only thing on TV, any sports program. It was all you saw.
It was epic TV.
Mm-hmm.
They were having that race, and they would just come back from the, baseball had lost the grace of the fans after the strike in '94, and that without that, I mean, baseball would be even further back than what it is now. So yeah, you won because of it, and now I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, now you want to outlaw them and Clemens and all them from the record books, and it's like no, I
It's
mean,
part of the story.
exactly. Just report the whole story. Just if you want to put a special wing
Put
in
an
the Hall of
asterisk
Fame or
by it.
whatever for them,
Cool.
be like, hey, this
Yeah.
is the steroid era. Like all these guys were on it until MLB updated their rules for it. That's fine. That's what you should do.
Yeah, but
It's like we
even
talk
then.
about. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Matt. I was saying that even then it opens up a whole nother can of worms because if it's called the steroid era, then you look at it, well, who was on, who wasn't, who wasn't, and then you look at other people's records and you're wondering, well, was this guy clean? Was this guy not clean? I just say let it all go and just, put the guys in. I mean, we all know Barry Bonds. If he had never went to San Francisco, he's a Hall of Famer just off his
If
college
you look
career.
at his stats, up until it was kind of obvious that his head grew and all that steroid stuff, he was still had Hall of Fame numbers before all that.
Exactly.
He was just didn't get the recognition because of McGuire and Sosa and Griffey, guys like that. Like you said, it's tough. It's just a weird thing. You can talk about it. It's okay to talk about it, guys. We don't need to wipe this from the record books. That's not a healthy way to deal with things.
We all saw it happen.
It's the equivalent of the NCAA,
taking Reggie Bush's Heisman.
Yeah, taking Reggie Bush's Heisman or vacating wins. It's like, no, we were
saw
there.
the wins.
I saw us. We won the game.
We saw who won. Exactly. You don't.
Yeah, who cares that player didn't pay for his textbook? That's not that did not help that team win that game that day.
Exactly. You guys don't have the Men in Black stick to make us forget.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not erasing our memory. This isn't Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind here. Yeah, it's all ridiculous. But yeah, so good for Judge, good for Pujols, good for baseball as they get closer to the playoffs. All right, man. Then our last thing, as usual, what has been done up real good for you this week?
Done up real good. Just being around. It's a tough time, but just being around family. Just to see people that you don't see a lot, able to bond with folks. It was just good to see people.
For sure.
What about you?
And I'll probably say the same thing. Done up real good. Family, fall weather finally creeping in here in Birmingham. Hopefully to stay. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, just and again, we've said it I think every week, but football has just been great this year, both college and pro. Like even when the lineups don't look great, the games have ended up being spectacular.
Exactly. And even like this, both college football and NFL this week, you're on paper, you're like, But watch, we had some epic ones. I'm sure we're having some epic endings. Yeah, it's about 3:00. I'm sure we're about to see some epic endings here, some upsets possibly. That's just the joy of football right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. As we, TD's up-to-date ticker for at least me and Greg, and then when you guys listen to this tomorrow, you'll wonder why we're giving breaking news. But it looks like Chicago is about to attempt a game-winning field goal. Maybe even bigger news, I just got a score alert on the phone. Ravens scored a touchdown. Justin Tucker missed an extra point.
Wow.
The apocalypse is nigh. Run for cover.
Yeah.
Get the high ground. But that is it, folks. Thank you once again for tuning in. Greg, have a great week, buddy.
You as well, buddy.
See you next week.
Next Sunday. Yes, sir.